Is former Rams quarterback Jared Goff still bitter from the 2021 trade? Executives rank Kobie Turner, Kyren Williams. The players also voted on some things, and the NFL Players Union and the NFL office are colluding. Man, oh man, we have a lot to talk about on this offseason update episode here on the Rams Up Podcast Network. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Rams Up Podcast Network. I'm Ian. That's Mark. If you're on YouTube, make sure to if you're on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like this video, hit that notification bell. All those different scenarios help out our content be seen by other Rams fans, other football fans. And if you're on the audio only side of things, share this audio, share this podcast with all your fellow Rams and football fans. Any of those options, we very much appreciate it. But Mark, my friend, how you doing on this dead period of the offseason?
Oh, really nice. I mean, I was outside a little bit today and it was just gorgeous. This is the weather we live for right here in SoCal, man. It was just awesome. But yeah, doing good.
Good. Yeah, it's been pretty hot out here in LA too. But hey, that's what we pay all that high tax for, right? To have some good weather majority of the year and even these hot days in the summer, the dog days of this NFL Rams Up off season. But we have a lot to talk about on this episode, Rams Nation, as the most hottest or the hot topic going around in the Rams universe right now is revolving around our former Pro Bowl quarterback, Jared Goff, as he said in the most recent trailer for Netflix's Quarterback season 2 for them. And even in the first episode, Jared Goff says the Rams lacked maturity in the 2021 trade that sent him to Detroit and a first-round pick. And Rams got Matthew Stafford and won a Super Bowl immediately. As these were very, very interesting comments, to say the least, Mark, Rams Nation, as it has been some time right now. We're heading into the 2025 campaign. This was back in 2021, but we haven't heard a lot from Jared Goff, as he was a true professional about it when it happened in the years after. But now, as the hype for the season 2 of quarterback on Netflix is, trying to build up, I think, Mark, they were trying to touch into the journey of Jared Goff now being a Lions quarterback and performing well for them objectively. And I think this has really stirred and pissed off a lot of Rams fans hearing this, like, oh, get over it. Oh, why does it matter anymore? And I mean, what are your thoughts on Jared feeling that way and him saying that, hey, the Rams didn't give him a heads up. They didn't sit down and have a conversation with him saying that this was a possibility after that 2020 campaign ended. Or it was very blunt with Sean McVay and Les Snead and Rams leadership, and how he said, like, hey, man, it just wasn't a very mature situation from the organization, letting him know that they were feeling negative about him. I mean, what are your thoughts on all that as a whole, Mark?
Well, I don't blame Jared Goff one bit. I think the Rams did handle it poorly. Sean McVay did handle it poorly. He was a little immature, and I dare to use the word maybe a little cowardly. It's tough having those conversations with associates, employees, friends, those conversations that have to be had. And the easy way out is just to kind of ignore it or have as little of that conversation as possible. But it's always the better to just walk up to somebody and tell them the truth and have an honest conversation with them and let them know what's going on. And Sean McVay didn't do that. He's a young coach, a young guy. He learned from it. And I don't hold it against Jared Goff at all. You call bitterness. I think he was asked the question and he gave an honest response. And I don't think he was over the top about how he felt about it. There's a lot of truth to what he's saying. Would it have been better if he just took the high road completely and didn't mention it at all, I suppose. But I still think the blame lies with Sean McVay more in how he handled it than how Jared Goff is answering a question, 2, 3 years later, whatever it is.
Yeah, and let's be real about it. McVay has said multiple times how poorly he's handled the Goff trade situation. He said it tons and tons of times. He's also been very adamant and very public about how he's handled other transactions with players. In the most recent article with Jordan Rodriguez, talking about just being very blunt and kind of taking the humanity out of it to get the ultimate goal. And I'm sure this is another reflection of that. And he admits that that was. And to your point of you know the immaturity, or to the point of immaturity from the Rams organization. Yeah, they did. They could have done better with a quarterback they paid a lot of money to, and yada yada. But on the flip side of that coin, Rams Nation, and we all know this, there are multiple things that were leading up to this decision. In another Jordan Rodriguez from The Athletic article way back when she was doing that storytelling podcast, coaches and play call. I think it was called Play Callers. Now I'm thinking about it. In that, it chronicled how Jared Goff's performance, not only in games during that final 2020 campaign, but how he was performing in practice was really souring the entire Rams coaching staff and organization. So, in that Play Callers, forgot exactly what episode, but during that whole run of that podcast storytelling from Jordan Rodriguez, I mean, it was known that Sean McVay, the offensive coaching staffs, were consistently unhappy with how Goff was performing. Again, not only in games every now and then, but also in practice, where he was not performing at a high standard. And this is not long after the Rams gave him one of the highest paid contracts in the history of the NFL, not long after losing a Super Bowl badly, right? Where he played very, very bad in that 2018 season, Super Bowl season against the New England Patriots, where he was awful. And McVay didn't have a good play calling day either, but Jared had opportunities to make big time throws, miss people, threw crappy passes. So that 2020 season coming down on him, not only in games, again, in practice. It is known fact that he was not doing well in practice. But then let's think about it. He had the game against the San Francisco 49ers where they were completely beat up, and he threw terrible passes and was a big reason why they lost that game in 2020. He had an awful game against the Miami Dolphins, and Tua Tagovailoa's first start, where Tua didn't do jack tilly squat, but the Rams offense was so bad, and he was a big part of it, just not playing well, not seeing blitzers, throwing bad passes. Then we can even fast forward to later in the year against the New York Jets, where he didn't play his greatest, and the team overall, but he didn't play great that game. And then I think the final game before he was out against Arizona, if you remember, everyone, was the game against Seattle, where he played awful. And he overthrew Robert Woods so bad, it hit the Seahawks safety right in the chest. If you remember that game, everyone. I mean, that was the final straw. Then he injures his thumb. He was supposedly going to be ready to go by his standards against Arizona, but the coaching staff rather would see John Wolford start. And John, I think, had a nice game playing. And there were some times where I feel like he could have had some more touchdown passes where, some drops, some other stuff happened. And then they chose also a second week in a row to go with John Wolford in the Seahawks wild card game where he got concussed and then Jared Goff had to come in. So there were tons and tons of signs where the Rams were slowly but surely disliking Jared Goff as their starting quarterback. It started in practice. It happened in multiple games. Then he gets hurt. They choose to go with John Wolford, even though Jared told the staff that he would be ready to go, even with the injured thumb. And then obviously the trade happens. So I know Jared says that he was blindsided. It was out of nowhere. It lacked maturity for him to get the knowledge it was happening. But now, after this whole thing I just chronicled for you, I guess he was blind to the fact that his job was on the line. Sincerely. Because I guess when you have the contract that he had, which is one of the highest paid in the history of NFL at that time, you feel that security. They're not going to bail on me. Look, at things didn't go our way, but there's always next season. And obviously he felt that way. But the signs were there, Rams Nation, in practice, in games, with his injury. It was there. And it's unfortunate that he feels that way. I do feel sorry for him as a person, just like, man, oh man, this sucks. But I don't feel that bad when you're one of the highest paid players in the history of NFL at that point. And life as well being married to a supermodel. So, hey, cry me a
Yeah.
river, Lions fans that are like, oh, the Rams did him dirty, la la la. Da. I just gave you a whole season long of issues with Jared Goff, which led to this trade being done. And hey, everything worked out. Jared's playing good football for Detroit. They're a good team. We won a Super Bowl. We're a good team. So, hey.
Yeah, I guess what I would want to know is, and you bring up a good point. How oblivious was he to the fact that they were unhappy with him? And I'd also want to know, was his shortcomings in practice due to, is it like part attitude, part, the work ethic side of it, or is it just not being able to make the plays? And maybe we'll never know, but
Yeah.
I still think McVay handled it poorly regardless, but maybe McVay had talks with him. Maybe Jared was just in denial. Who
Yeah.
knows?
I mean, guys, Jordan Rodriguez, shout out respect to her going to bigger and wider audience things with the NFL. And I'm sure she'll do some Ram stuff when she gets a chance. But in that play caller series, I mean, she chronicles that for weeks and weeks and weeks in a row. Like Jared was not practicing up to a starting caliber quarterback's level. I mean, it was inconsistent for a starting caliber quarterback, and they were getting frustrated. That was the beginning of it. So, Jared knows he wasn't playing good or wasn't performing well in practice. So, hey, it is what
Good
it is.
call.
They moved off him, and it's time to go win another championship, Rams, and try and, time to see Detroit have another season where, they're probably going to be good, but no Super Bowl. They had their chance a couple seasons ago, and oh well.
It kind of maps a little bit to what happened with Ernest Jones, if you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, this team will bail on anybody. We'd say it time and time again. And I don't even think it'll be a shock to see a player who we think is going to make this roster this upcoming year get bailed on for one reason or another. So, Jared, hey, shout out to all the fun years you were a quarterback. And I know Rams hurt your feelings, but the signs were there for months that they were looking to bail on you or they were getting unhappy with you. And hey, you found your spot. Kudos to you, and kudos to us for finding Stafford in that return and doing well with
Yeah.
that. So there's that, Rams Nation. I mean, hey, fun speculation, but again, the signs were there. Never forget that. If you argue with any Lions fans, you can point out everything that I said as reference. But in some other big news, Rams Nation, that sometimes doesn't get talked about as much as maybe when this list and all this was first coming out on the NFL Network or in the NFL universe. But I think it's a pretty big deal because Kyren Williams was voted as the 85th best overall player in the NFL's 2025 top 100 list. And this list is voted by the players. The players get a giant ballot. They vote in who they think are the best players in the NFL. And Kyren Williams made the cut in the top 100. As again, he comes in at number 85 overall. And within the last week or so, Kyren Williams was not ranked by coaches and executives as a top 15 running back, but we'll see how the rest of this players 100 list unfolds. But they clearly respect Kyren Williams as a player, and they definitely think he's one of the 100 best in the league. And he is, according to the players, Mark. Pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think I hadn't been following the top 100, been a little busy, but it makes sense. If I think, my first reaction is that's about where he belongs. I think it'll be interesting to see how many running backs are ranked higher. just out of curiosity. And I'm guessing we're going to see Jared Verse and Puka and maybe Stafford. I think Stafford's been dissed a little bit in years past, but yeah, fun stuff.
It is fun. I mean, and to back up this thought that Kyren Williams is a good player, because I know this discussion is never going to end until we win a championship or he just has an insane season. I mean, the fan base is so split. We talk about it a ton here, and it's the topic of discussion weekly, daily, it feels like, among Rams fans. But I think something that's important to digest is, how does the running backs coach feel about him, Ron Gould? And he sat down with the Rams in an article, and he said how great Kyren Williams has looked going into this fourth year of his rookie deal, into this 2025 campaign. And he says that he showed up in the spring OTAs, offseason workouts, in exceptional shape. And Gould said the first thing that stood out was his explosiveness. One of the things I noticed was his ability to stay grounded through some of the runs, which is really evident. But then he's been really pleased with the explosive nature he's seen this offseason, or this, leading into the 2025 campaign. Again, this is lead running backs coach Ron Gould saying that he notices Kyren looks more explosive, looks faster, looks stronger, looks better in shape. And that's fantastic news, Rams Nation. As again, Kyren Williams is a good football player. He is. Whether you think he's worthy of a lot of money or not, that's a different discussion. I think he should be paid less than $10 million. That's just my personal opinion. Anything more than that, you got to let him walk. But for him to be in this final year of a contract where he knows he's got to show out, he's got to have another 1,000+ yards rushing, he's got to have another 10+ touchdowns, he's got to stop the fumbles, he's got to be faster when the holes are there and run by people, get bigger yardage on 20+ runs, which he was ranked near the bottom, or if not last, if my memory serves me correctly. So again, for the running back coach to say he's in the best shape, he looks faster, he looks stronger, he looks more explosive, fantastic. This is what will help us have a great chance to win another Super Bowl championship. And I hope this continues with Kyren. I hope he stays healthy. But hey, players think he's good. Running backs coach thinks he looks even better. Great news for us, Mark.
Yeah, I've always been on Team Kyren. People can try to slap him down, Ram fans included, but I think that's just silliness. I will be a negative Nancy for a moment here. And I have a hard time understanding. I can understand a running back coming back and being a little fitter, in the prime shape of his life. Now, how do they add speed and explosiveness at this point, unless it's some specific training, plyometrics? I know there's some training outfits that specialize in those types of things.
Yeah.
I know these elite athletes find these trainers. I know there's some in LA, there's some even in San Diego County that can help athletes improve their speed and explosiveness even after being in the league a couple of years. But I think I'm going to believe it when I see it. But I'm okay
Yeah.
with the 2024 version of Kyren. I really am. I think he's a great running back. Be careful what you ask for. He has a couple of shortcomings. The fumbling, I think he can address, and if he just addresses that, I'm 100% behind 100% behind Kyren Williams as our starting running back moving forward.
Yeah, I agree. We get 2024 Kyren minus the fumbles in big games.
Right.
It's a Pro Bowl running back. Fantastic. But I'm happy to hear that Ron Gould, our running back coach, is thinking he'll be better. Man, that's a great sign for a Super Bowl or bust team like our team, the Rams. And hopefully Kyren, will play well, earn a good contract, whether that's with us or somebody else. And don't forget, though, the players think he's a top 100 player. And that came out today, Rams Nation. Number 85 overall in the NFL, voted by the players. Pretty cool. Shout out to Kyren for that. But another player who's getting voted on by NFL people is Kobie Turner, our starting defensive tackle, who I think should be a Pro Bowler very, very soon. I think he's Pro Bowl worthy even last year in his rookie year, truthfully. But NFL coaches and executives, the same ones who didn't think Kyren Williams was a top 15 running back, they think Kobie Turner is a top 15 defensive tackle, as he was voted in the honorable mention section, which would be, 11 through 15. But still, if you think of all the great defensive players at the defensive tackle position in the NFL, Kobie Turner, I think, is warranted as a top 15 player the way he's played. The way he plays as a true D tackle, right? Rushing the passer, stopping the run. And even a lot of moments this past season where they shoved him inside to be the nose tackle, right? Head up with the center, where that's more of a run stuffer, run stopper role, right? It's not necessarily, hey, go get the quarterback from that spot. It's a lot more difficult when the center has more help with his guards, left or right guard. So, hey, he should have a fantastic season. Coaches and executives think he's already pretty dang good. And the way they talk about him, I think they think he's going to have another monster year. And quote, he has an ability to get off the ball and establish leverage. He has a natural feel to be in the right place at the right time and plays with urgency. He can also close the deal when there's a chance for a tackle for loss, pressure, or sack, one executive said about Kobie Turner on this list. So good to see that he's starting to get recognition, not just from our own fan base, but I think national recognition. And now he's getting recognition between coaches and executives as a player that, we better watch out for that guy. Top 15 player by coaches and executives, Kobie Turner, Mark.
Yeah, and I think the addition of Poona Ford and the drafting of Ty Hamilton are going to maybe free him up a little bit more as well.
Yep.
So we may see more production, just tackling and getting to the quarterback for that matter. And he's just another one of those guys that just a super intelligent player. You can tell, you can tell just listening to this guy talk football. He understands what's going on, and the Rams have a bunch of those guys, which is always a good thing.
No,
And he
always a
can
good
sing.
thing. And he can sing, yes. I need more singing, more conducting, more saluting, more tackles for loss, more quarterback hits, sacks, all of it. I need more of all that from Kobie Turner in 2025, and I think we'll get that. And again, to the point of he played a lot of nose tackle this last season, Rams Nation, as Bobby Brown was hurt. There were moments where Bobby Brown, he's a bigger human, was more tired, like my guess. Or, Kobie Turner was equally as good as Bobby Brown at the nose tackle spot. And now with Poona Ford being signed, he should play more traditional D tackle, which means more tackles for loss, more pressures, more quarterback sacks, more playmaking overall. And I'm very excited about that with Kobie Turner. And I expect to see all that in the 2025 campaign for sure. But shout out to those coaches and executives ranking Kobie in the top 15 for D tackles in the NFL. Respect. They know ball. Good. I'm glad. But some other fun updates from players, Rams Nation, as Davante Adams is now making his tour around town, around radio shows. And he was on the Dan Patrick Show today talking about golf, talking about LeBron, talking about football in general. But Davante Adams says this is the hardest he's worked leading up to a season and obviously leading up to this 2025 season. He says, quote, I've worked probably some of the hardest I've ever worked. Just feeling really rejuvenated and ready to go win some games with the Rams. As, yes, we've talked about Davante quite a bit. We talked about how excited we are, excited he is, the coaches, the players, the organization. I think the league in general, thinking how beneficial this partnership between him and us is going to be, player to team. And he says Matthew Stafford still looks great. They put in a ton of work in the offseason, and how majority of his time has been with Matthew Stafford, getting right with the quarterback, getting right with how Stafford sees things, how he sees things, and they're just getting on pace to be the best possible in this upcoming 2025 campaign. And he says about Matthew Stafford, I mean, he looks amazing. He looks like the Matthew Stafford we all fell in love with 17 years ago when he first got drafted. He's like, I'm having a lot of fun. I mean, I just love it, Mark. I'm just so in on this Davante Adams signing and how I think it's going to work. I mean, hearing all this, I can't get enough of it. Keep hyping up the Devontae Puka, Tutu, Stafford, Higbee, Ferguson passing offense. I mean, If it doesn't work, I'm going to be incredibly disappointed, Mark. But Davante seems like he's did everything he can to be ready, Mark, thus far.
Yeah, and you were one of the first ones to clamor for signing Davante Adams. You
Mhm.
watched some film and thought he
Yeah,
still had it, and
absolutely.
yeah, it's just I just really enjoy seeing a veteran player showing up in Rams camp and being uh, just inject an injection of new life. And the way he talks about the Rams and how much he enjoys being with this team and this coach and these players, it's just really refreshing. It makes you feel really good about this team. You feel really good about this franchise. We all know that we've been talking about it forever. The culture here, and a guy like Davante Adams, man, the talent and the attitude it fits perfect with this team. And I'm really excited too that first possession. I can't wait for the Rams' first possession. It's going to be really fun.
If you had to say, what is his first catch going to be? What route is it? If you had to put some money on it, what do you think?
Well, I don't know the names of the routes as well as you do, but I could see him just doing a little, 15 yards jog up the middle, a seam route, I guess you could call it, an easy catch for 26 yards, something like that.
I don't know why, but I have a feeling it's going to be some type of short pass, a screen, maybe a quick slant, maybe a quick out. I just have a feeling there's going to be a quick little like, hey, let's get you your first catch as a Ram. Okay, now we can start having you do crazy deep 20-yard in or dig routes, or you start doing skinny posts and come back. You know what I'm saying? All the Davante Adams stuff he does really well, double moves. I just have a weird feeling his first catch will be something short, a quick wide receiver screen, maybe a quick out route, maybe a quick slant. I mean, all the stuff he does well, and which is everything really. But I have a feeling his first catch will be something short, something sweet, and it'll just be like a get into a groove catch and pass, and then it'll be like, all right, let's start dialing up some stuff down the field, and I think we'll see that. But if there's any betting odds for that, Rams Nation, for what is Davante's route he's going to run, I'm sure there's some odds out there when the season gets closer. I do think it'll be something like that. But I'm excited. Glad to hear that he's loving Stafford. He still thinks Stafford's a beast. Glad to hear that he's putting in tons of work to get ready, to feel good, to play good with us as a Ram. Again, all things you love to hear in this time of year where there's no games, no joint practices, no preseason games. These are positive things you want to hear about your players. Coaches talk good about them, executives, other players. I love this time of year as the hype builds, Mark.
Yeah, right. And no injuries, no banged up players.
Oh yeah,
Everybody's
none of
just
that either, please.
yeah,
I
right.
will fall apart. Because never forget JB Long's CQI index. And shout out to JB Long, voice of the Rams. Do you have a good coach? Yes, Sean McVay. Do you have a good quarterback? It's Matthew Stafford, absolutely. And then do you get lucky with the injuries, the injury bug? And then if you have all those things go your way, you have a great chance to win a Super Bowl every single year. And I think if all those things align, we definitely do. The CQI index by JB Long, fantastic. And hopefully that unfolds for us this year, Rams
Yeah,
Nation.
he's onto something there.
He is. I like that. I'm gonna use that as much as it makes sense. And what else has been going on in the football universe, Rams Nation, during this dead period? Well, something pretty big, and this may not be super big headlining news, but I think it's worthy to talk about here on this episode for sure, Rams Nation. And what it is the NFL and the NFL Players Association, the NFL Players Union, were colluding. Man, oh man, let's talk about it. So here, from Ari Mirov, as he is, reposting some ESPN article that came out today where he sums it up pretty good here. The NFL and the NFL Players Association, again, the Players Union, quietly agreed to a confidentiality deal that hid the outcome of a collusion grievance, which found the league urged owners to limit guaranteed money after Deshaun Watson's mega deal. Players were not told about this confidentiality deal, and it's sparking major backlash inside the Players Union. I mean, wow, Mark. That's pretty crazy. So I guess
Yeah.
to give it
Go
further
ahead.
context, I know this gets a little wacky. Everyone might be like, what does that mean? What does that mean? So why is this a big deal? So the NFL and senior leaders of the NFL Players Association, the union, struck an unusual confidentiality agreement that hid the details of an arbitration decision from players. Included that, hey, the NFL executives and league office people were telling owners, like, hey, stop giving players so much damn guaranteed money, which is crazy. Crazy to think about. So this arbitrator, and for any who are unfamiliar with those terms, instead of the NFL and the players union going to court and having a court handle it, they hired a third party who has official status to do arbitration, which means, you know, third party detective work to make a ruling on something that doesn't involve a court. That's what it is. So this arbitrator said, no, there's no collusion going on. And that was a report that got released half a year ago. So the arbitrator said, no collusion, nothing to worry about, players, union, players. The league is not telling anybody for you guys to get less guaranteed money. But within the last week, it now comes out that the arbitrator, the union, players union, and the NFL all colluded together to hide the fact that the NFL was telling owners to hide or was telling owners not to give players so much damn guaranteed money, which is crazy. And then on top of that, now the NFLPA is saying we are filing an appeal with with the arbitrator's ruling that there was no collusion. Now it's coming out that there is collusion. We're appealing this rule, but that's very hypocritical because the players union agreed to keep all this under wraps. But Mark, why would the players union originally agree to say, hey, let's not tell our players that the NFL was telling owners not to give them so much guaranteed money? And then all of a sudden, now that it's out there that the union was hiding that with the NFL and the arbitrator, oh, now we're going to appeal it because that's not right. We're always looking out for the players, yada, yada, yada. I mean, this is crazy. So how does this affect Ram stuff, Mark? I mean, your thoughts overall. I mean, this is wild. A union teaming up with the team with the side they're not supposed to be teaming up with like that. Crazy.
Yeah, it's like a double conspiracy. It just makes no sense, and you have to wonder
Yeah.
if union leadership was getting kickbacks. And I'm not saying anything that's going to get me into trouble here, but at face value, if this was happening, you have to ask why. Who is benefiting from this? It's not the
Yeah.
players. The NFL obviously is, but like you said, the union is supposed to be looking out for looking out for the players. And if I'm the players, if this is true, our heads have to roll at the union level, right? The
Yeah.
NFLPA. People have to be gone. It's just really strange. I there's got to be a few more things to fall here. Some more information forthcoming that's going to explain the why, and then what do the players demand of the union? Because and the bear, the real takeaway is that the union has cost some players a lot of guaranteed money, likely, right? And they're never getting that back. So there's that part of it too. What's the how do they settle the score with the players? They're owed something at this point, you would think.
Absolutely. I mean, to give it more context, the attorney for the players union, Peter Ginsburg, who represents a lot of NFL players for any legal battles with the league or anything else. I mean, he was floored by this confidentiality agreement that recently came out within the last day or two. He says, as head of the union, Lloyd has an obligation to protect the best interests of players. And he says, by agreeing to that confidentiality agreement and this coming out 6 months later, the union purposely blocked players from receiving crucial information about how the NFL league office views players and functions with ownership. I mean, again, someone who's a part of all this sounds like he's upset. So this is pretty wild, Rams Nation. And how does this affect the Rams and everything? Well, the Rams are notorious for not giving out mega deals to players if you're not a quarterback, if you're not a star pass rusher, if you're not a star corner, a star receiver. And owners have to approve of all contracts, even if there are tons of cap space. Let's just say next year the Rams have $1 gazillion in cap space. I mean, Kroenke and the Kroenke family have to approve of the Rams, the team, the league, or the front office of spending all that money, right? The team just can't say, oh, we have our budget, we can do what we want. Ownership always has to approve of every contract. Now, there may be some teams that don't, and that's maybe why they're Ram bad, but could Kroenke be a owner who, again, is one of the richest in the world of any professional sport? Could he possibly be an owner? Is like, yeah, you know what? Let's not give, Matthew Stafford all that extra guaranteed money for next season. Could he be like, hey, we like Kyren, but we're not going to give him all that guaranteed money, or Puka Nacua, or Kobie Turner, or Jared Verse in the future? It's very much possible. It's not out of the realm of possibility. And then on top of that, does that make those players that we just talked about, a Puka, a Verse, a Kyren, a Matthew Stafford next year, a Steve Avila, any young guy or any veteran player trying to re-up, does that make them say, hey, we're going to be even more firm now in our contract negotiations because, hey, the league office says F the players, don't give them so much guaranteed money. Are we going to fight for more guaranteed, which I think is fair? So does that make our future contract negotiations with star players more tough than what they already seem to be year in and year out as it is league-wide? So this is going to have a big ripple effect, in my opinion. Now, we'll see how this all unfolds and what other dirty info gets pulled up from this investigation. I think that will probably unfold between the NFL, the NFL Players Union, and that arbitrator. But man, oh man, Mark, I mean, this is crazy. This is crazy.
And as much money as the NFL makes, and as well as this league is doing, it's borderline stupid to to try to pull this off. In my opinion, yeah,
Yeah,
maybe they're going to save themselves a lot of money, but if this is true, it's just such a bad look, such a really bad look, and
yeah.
fans will forget. They just want their team to. They just want W's. They just want star players, but
It's true. I mean,
you know,
games. I mean, look at games we played. Players from college will continue to get drafted with their hopes and dreams of playing in the NFL. So I mean, the giant NFL machine will always keep churning and churning and churning, no matter what. But man, if I was a player, I'd be pissed at the
yeah.
Players Union. I mean, I think it's fair to say that the NFL Players Association, the NFL Players Union, is now the worst in all of American professional sports. It has to be. It has to be. Honestly, after this, think of all the games that keep getting added on the schedule, and the players keep saying, we don't want extra games, but it keeps on happening anyway, right?
Yeah,
We don't
what was
want
it?
international games all the time. This is the most international games that's ever unfolded in this season in the history of the NFL this upcoming year, even though players don't want it.
Yeah, was it
This,
last year or the year before they had Wednesday night games?
yeah, I mean, just all the things players are against just keep happening. So it makes you question, like, this what is going on with that union? What is going on with the leadership there? And why were they trying to hide that the NFL was telling owners to pay players less money? Like, why would the union do that? I mean, this is getting deep conspiracy, but this is all
Yeah.
fact now, by the way, Rams Nation. And again, how does this affect Rams players, our Rams in general, the organization? This will make players, in my opinion, be way more firm on what they want in their future contracts. Hey, we want more guaranteed money because these owners out here don't want us getting money. So we're going to be more firm. Does that lead to, again, players leaving that maybe originally wouldn't have left for that extra 5 to 10 million? I mean, I think it's going to have a ripple effect, Mark. So this is a big deal. This is a big deal.
Yeah, if any team can figure it out, navigate it, it's the Rams, but still it just leaves a sour taste in your mouth that the NFL and the union, I mean, the NFL's party to it too, right? I mean, most of the union is going to take most of the heat, but let's not forget, the NFL is part of it, and it's just a really bad look, kind of sad.
Yeah, no, this is a bad look for sure. And Rams Nation, I mean, let me know in the comments section. I mean, what are your thoughts on obviously Jared Goff's comments, and is he being ridiculous talking about it or still being mad about it years later? Is that fair or not? And give me your thoughts on this collusion going on from NFL to owners, NFL, NFLPA, and the arbitrator investigating them. And how do you think this is going to affect players' contracts and players' negotiations with the Rams for future contracts in future seasons? Let me know all your thoughts on all that. And man, oh man, Mark, on this dead period time of the year, a lot of fun news to talk about, but we got that bomb dropped on us.
Yeah.
And man, oh man, I mean, this a lot of fun stuff to talk about on this episode, and I think we've done that today.
Yeah, that's good stuff. And there will be more good stuff, I'm sure, as we get closer to camp. A mix of some interesting news items, that's for sure.
A giant mix, and that's the gift of the NFL, the gift that does not stop giving, and not for long, right? Oh, there won't be much news, but not for long, as the
Yeah.
NFL comes and gives us fun stuff. And again, let me know in the comments your thoughts on Jared Goff calling the Rams immature, and your thoughts on the collusion going on between the union for players, NFL, arbitrator, owners, all of it together. Let me know in the comment section, Rams Nation. I will read, I will respond to all your fun ideas, comments, suggestions, anything else. And we, again, appreciate you checking us out here on YouTube, checking us out on the audio only or podcast only side of things. Like, subscribe, share all this fun stuff. We very much appreciate it. But never forget, baby, never forget, no matter who's colluding against you, go Rams, baby.